Hey guys, welcome to Excel tutorial channel again, and in this video we will cover some product function in Excel. So we have covered the some product functions in another video, but it was in Hindi. So in this video we will do it in English, but if you have the basic understanding of Hindi, then you should continue watching that video, because that video we have covered is in detail, and we have solved real time or real issue problems there. So if you have some basic understanding of Hindi, please do watch that, and we will also do the writer part of that video in our blog very soon. So in this video we will also cover basic to advanced functionality of the some product function with the given examples. So stay tuned for it. Keep watching this video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do it, because in upcoming days we will be covering the logical functions playlist, and where we cover all the basics understandings of if functions, count if functions, and etc., and cover real world problems in it. So let's get started. So this is our basic sheet where I have 3 or 4 type of data sets, which is only for the demonstration purposes. And we have here products, quantity sold, price. So sum product, what is the sum product? To calculate sum of products of corresponding numbers in one or more ranges. So we use the sum product function for that. I know in these languages, this term definition, it sounds confusing, but it will be easier to understand if we keep on solving the examples. Let's find out. So here we have the quantity sold here and price here. If you want to, this basic functionality of some product is it give you the sum of the products. What does it mean? So here, how we gonna found the total price of chips, or total selling price of chips, the quantity sold into price, right? So how we do that? Initially with this into this and enter. So here we do that like that. Okay, so let me say it's a selling price, right? And we drag it down here. So we got this, and the total of these, what we're gonna do is we do sum and select all these ranges cells, and here we got the sum, right? So it requires 2 additional steps. First we need to multiply the quantity sold into price. So this is the product, right? And we gotta do it sum later. So what if you want to cut these steps in and apply one function which can do it for you? What's that function is? That function is sum product. With sum product, what we can do is just write sum product here, and here it says the array 1. What will be the array 1? The quantity sold one. Okay, product of quantity sold and product of price. Here it will give us the sum of the product of these two ranges, and here we got the same sum. Here we got the 80,100 and the same here. So it saves our time. If you have a data like this where you need to find such calculations, then you can apply sum product function. So it comes very handy whenever you apply it in your real life problems. So this is just for the demonstration purposes, and this is the basic functionality of sum product. The limitation of this is, like, if I select these ranges, right, and you need to select the same number of quantities sold to same number of prices ranges. For example, if I deselect one range here, okay, and enter it here, and it will give you the value error. What does the value error? Value error gives us the some range, or there's something wrong with your values. Basically the value error gives that. If you haven't watched the 6 common errors that occurs in the Excel, do watch that video, because in that video we have covered all the errors which you may have incurred or which you will incur, and you will be get ready to resolve that earlier. So here we got the value error here. This is the limitation of this particular function. So if we drag it here, and here we got 80,100. So for example, here you didn't know how many quantities sold of rice and chocolate, right? And here we write NA not applicable here, right? You see here formula, it get deducted and only give us the product of these numbers, right? So don't worry about it. If you have something to add it afterwards, it will get calculated automatically. If you have something in the text strings here, it will ignore this step and add on other values automatically. So you don't have to be worried about that, because some product function treats any entries that are not numerical as if they were zeros. So it will treat these values as a zero, so it will not add in your sum product functionality. So there you go. So this is the basic use of this function. Also, if you want to sum product also act as a sum function. Okay, it doesn't need to product or multiply every ranges or etc. If you want to add like this here, for example, let me add C2 to C8 only, will it give me the answer? Yes, it will give you the exact answer like the sum function. So if you want to do if you want to edit some ranges or values with the sum product, and you don't want to edit the the sum here without editing your sum product function, you can easily delete your ranges from the sum product itself. So it's very basic to use. It can also act like a sum function here. So these are the very basic functionality of sum product functions. So let's get on to some advanced tricks. See, these tricks may not apply in your Excel life, but when you practice such tricks in your daily Excel life, you will counter so many problems which you can resolve with these functions. With the sum product function here, what we have is random words here, right? You may be asking yourself or to me during watching this video, why we need some numbers here and calculate the sum with it or sum product with it. So what does it mean? For example, we have these values here, and if we want to calculate the number of chips here, just like I'm giving an example here, we have chips here, right? So to calculate the number of chips, which function we used previously? We used the countif functions, because in this range we have a one condition. So for the one condition we use the countif function. So let me select the range here. What will be the criteria? Criteria will be chips. So basically we do count number of text strings with the help of countif function. So there are two number of chips here, right? But we can also do that with the help of sum product. How we gonna do that? Just delete this, enter the sum product here, just add one other bracket. I will tell you later why. Here we will select the range here, and our condition will be is equal to chips. Okay, it will give you the sum product of only those ranges which have the chips in mentioned array here, and we will close it down. Now to calculate the number of chips in this cell, we need to add this operator here. Why? It signifies the double negative courses. So why we need this? Because it will give us the false or true functionality, whatever the true functionality is. So what does it means? The double negative courses these booleans to ones and zeros. Let me just delete this and click enter here. So it gives me 0, but if I add double negative courses here, and it give me a 2. Why it give me a 2? Because without this it give us 0. 0 is fine, okay, 0 is fine, but why it gives us a 0? Because this function in this sum product tells us which value contains chips or not, but it doesn't count that. To count those true values, it just reveal true or false backend system, but to reveal those true and false and convert those true into 1 and false into zeros, we need to add two negatives here, and here you go, you get the 2 answer here. I know this is very basic and you don't need to learn such type of tricks, but it gives very handy, it gives you the advanced usage of some function and understanding of the functions here. So this is how you can count the number of chips with the help of sum product, which is very similar to countif function. Now if you have watched my previous videos of the countif functions, we use the wildcard operators, which is the question mark and the star operator. So what does that mean? If we, let me just for the comparison sake, let me put it here, countif function, what we have done is, I know you may have here, so criteria is chips, right? But here with the chips, we have number of chips here, like chips 1, and we have the space here, right? So what does it mean? If we want to include the chips 1 in our number of chips here, what we do is, like we have, if you have watched that video, we use the wildcard functions or characters like question mark here. When I enter the question mark here, it will add one value, whatever the value after these chips, like 1, 2, 3, x, etc. It will count that also under the chips criteria which you have defined in COUNTIF. So here we got question mark. So why we got the one answer? Because it only counts that value which have chips plus one character here. If you want to include all the characters after chips, including chips, what you used to do is with the multiple wildcard character here. So it got 3, but you cannot do that same with the sum product. That's another limitation of this function. So if you just add like this, it will give you the 0, because the Boolean values only give you the true and false, right? But it doesn't work with the sum product the way we did 2 negative courses here. Hope you understand that wildcard characters in our functions in sum product doesn't work. So this is the another limitation of this function. So now coming to the next example where we will learn how to count these values. So usually how we count these values, we just put the sum here and len function and here. So we got this, how to count the number of characters in this ranges of cells. So you can also do that with the help of sum product, as as we have done. You can also perform all sum related calculation with the sum product. So you can just add sum product here and you have already added the length, and here you got the same answer. So you can also do that basically with the sum product also. But why you need to sum product? Suppose you have this, you have created another cells here and added another numbers here, and you want to calculate all those ranges. So sum product help with that functionality. So you can also do that with the help of sum product. Now we will move on to this transaction dates and quantity sold functionality with the date criterias. So if I give you the exercise, like you can pause the video here, and if you have done all the sum and count function previously, you can do that easily with this. So what I want you to do is to sum up all the quantities sold of our product in 2020. So in this we have a criteria based on the year, right? So basically without the sum product, how we gonna calculate that? We used to calculate like this: sum if, right? Sum and if. So if in if function, because we have the criteria, our criteria is to sum of the quantity sold only in 2020. So we need if functions here because it is a logical function, which we will cover in the next upcoming videos in advance. So here sum and if. What will a logical test is? Logical test is year number is, or you can say year should be 2020. Include only 2020 values here. What we're gonna do is we need to input year function. So in year function we will select this range here, and we will let you Excel know what year we need, only 2020 here. And what will be the value if true? If true is, we need to select this next range here. So only select 2020 value if true is give me the values of those quantities sold which are sold in 2020. So value if false will be 0. So what does it say is, whatever the value under this criteria, which is a 2020, will remain as it is, else it will give me the 0 values here. So it will sum up all those values which are given under our criteria, right? So we will close it down here and click enter. So we got the 121. To cross check it, let us select here, and here 19, 101, yes, 121. So you can also do that simply with the help of sum product. With the help of sum product, you don't need if function here, nor with the help of sum product you neither need if function nor sum function. What you need is just sum product here, because it involves two ranges and we have given the criteria under our first array. So we, in the first array we have included only those values which have year 2020, but in the second we need to edit this. What we're gonna edit is only state those ranges which have satisfy the criteria of array 1. So for that we need this operator here, the multiplication operator, which automatically courses the booleans to ones and zeros. So here we get that. So what does it say is, in the array 1 we have this one criteria which is the year criteria. We have input the year formula here, L2 to L8 and 2020, and we will include only and only those values which have satisfied this with the help of multiplication operator. And here we close that. We will get the same answer. Hope you get to know how sum product function works. If you gain a little bit knowledge, or if you understand something about sum product, please like this video. If you have answers in your mind, please, you have all the comment box below, and if you want to watch such video in the future, you can also subscribe to our channel. Also, if you have basic understanding of Hindi language, you can also cover those videos which will be linked in the description below or in the playlist below. Hope to see you in the next video, where we will cover the if functions, logical functions in the next playlist. See you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.